set, go! Ready, set, go! After a day of racing, this is what it looks like. Just wet little pebbles, and the steering is stuck. I think there's a rock stuck in there somehow. So I gotta take it apart and fix it again. Here it is, I got it cleaned up, and it is still stuck. Something must really be wedged in there. So I'm gonna take it apart and change this center drive shaft at the same time while I'm doing it. Hopefully it's nothing major. To get the front apart, you gotta take this screw, that one, and that is it. And you have to undo this one right here by the servo. And I really hope I don't have to replace the servo. So I got it apart and just was going to put in a battery and check the servo, but I can see right here that this thing is still stuck in that position and will not move. I don't want to use a lot of force and break something. Can't see a rock, so I might have to take this apart a little more to figure out what is causing it to be stuck. There's got to be a rock or something in here that's causing it to bind. Servo's working fine. Got a battery in there, and oh no, that was weird. So at least that's working. I have never taken this apart this much before. Never taken the steering section apart. I think there's little springs and bearings in it. loosening that a little bit made it work. Always afraid of taking something apart and not being able to figure out how to get it back together. I feel like all these trucks should come with a manual how to take everything apart. Oh. There's a bearing in there. I don't know how taking that one screw out fixed it, but hopefully that's right. It's working fine now. Pretty easy fix there. And if you ever put in a drive shaft on one of these, the front is a lot more difficult to get in than the back. So I always put the front together without the drive shaft, and then put the drive shaft in and put the bottom or the back together. Put the front together without the drive shaft, and then put the drive shaft in and put the back on, because the back is a lot easier than the front, because you have to deal with the servo and the steering. Just something I've kind of realized after doing it a few times. Now that I got the steering fixed, I might as well replace that drive shaft, put this new one in. see, you can see the gap there. Still a little, this one was still not very straight. The thing I like about these, the slash, is it's pretty easy to work on. I mean, it's literally just a few bolts and you have it taken apart. So it's kind of makes it simple. I'm sure there's probably even easier, but I think these are pretty easy to work on. The Senton that the other guys were running, that drive shaft is, you can take it out without taking anything apart, but it also seemed like a little, kind of like another part that could get jammed up with rocks and sand. So if that happened, so I did 2 bolts on the bottom, 2 on the top, and the back end comes right off. And I am using differential. The Traxxas Ultimate comes with a differential that you can use for the center differential instead of a slipper clutch. The only negative is you cannot use the speed sensor with this. I like that on the clutch you could have the speed sensor and it would tell you how fast you're going. With that center differential you cannot do that. Boy, and there's a lot of crud in there. Might have to take that apart anyways. I'd rather race on dirt than sand like we were doing. We were racing on wet gravel and everything just gets gummed up with little rocks, and if you're running on dirt it's just a lot better, because who knows if the little rocks in here that I miss. Really should spray it out. Sometimes I'll use a toothbrush to get that fine stuff out of there that I can't get with a paper towel. Just hate to take it this far apart and put it back together and have a rock jam it up and cause it to quit. And then have to take it apart again. So that's pretty decent. Good enough. I don't think any truck comes like completely sealed enough that you'll never get any sand in there. So after you take the back off, it makes it a whole lot easier to slide the shaft through here and hook it up compared to the front, because the back slides on a lot easier than the front slides on. So I'm gonna take this cover off just because there's A lot more sand in there than I thought. Cover's just held on by that one little screw. All that sand in there. That's a little better. And so after you have it like this, you just take the differential and slide it in there. Like that. And then all you have to do is line up, get this flat and this flat, and then it slides right in there. Without moving the tires. And then you put the 4 screws, top and bottom, back in. That would have taken a lot longer if I was doing that on the front. And you could use power tools, but I don't because I figure I'm more likely to strip something out, so I don't. Or if I was, maybe if I was building one completely I would, but just doing little stuff like this I don't. And there we have it, a brand new drive shaft on a really old rusty truck. And I'll be replacing the bearings soon when I get my bearing kit in a few days. So stay tuned for the next video and let me know what you think. If the intro of the video is too long, I just want your guys' feedback of something you would do if there's anything you would do different than what I'm doing. I'm kind of just winging it, so if you think I should do something different, let me know. Comment down below. Okay, thanks guys.